Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. So this is a topic I'm pretty excited about because I think it's one that we've all been in at some point in our lives, which is when you want to break up with someone but you aren't or you can't, and you're you're stuck in this limbo space of being 1 foot in the relationship and 1 foot out. So I just wanted to address this and provide some practical tips for dealing with this. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the limbo might actually be serving you in a way, serving your old patterns, old survival strategies. So a lot of times you think if we're in a limbo about a relationship, like it's not a good relationship. But this isn't always the case. Sometimes it's actually it serves your inner child and inner safety to look at a relationship in a negative light, even though it might not be super negative. So this is related to avoidant and ambivalent attachment. In this situation, it's like when we were growing up, love was kind of tricky in a sense. So as adults, we kind of put our distance in love. So in relationships that looks like kind of focusing more on the negatives of a relationship than the positives. And so when we feel kind of ambivalent, it could actually just be that filter to keep a distance with a partner. So in this situation, if you notice yourself just kind of being oh, whatever about your current relationship, or just being neutral, I could take it or leave it, I think it's really worth looking at if you have a protective mechanism against actually being close to your partner and really feeling the love that you have for them fully. And so if you think this is what you have going on, what I would recommend is just kind of noticing, just being aware that you might have that filter of not seeing the good side of the relationship, and take an effort to go against that negative bias and try to look more on the positive and maybe see what you may have been overlooking. So the other thing is that when we're in, a ambivalent kind of relationship, or where we want to break up with someone but we're not, usually this is a case of we're getting kind of lost in the day-to-day routine of the relationship. And this is a really common theme when it comes to healing and growth, but it's just the idea of not seeing the forest for the trees. So we're so in the relationship in the day-to-day that we're not seeing the overall trajectory or the overall pattern of it. So it's on a given day you can have a good moment and a bad moment, and so the good moment might cancel out the bad moment, or the bad moment might cancel out the good moment, and you're just kind of in this cycle, and you're not seeing okay, is it overall good? Is it overall bad? And so what I like to do for getting out of that and seeing it from a macro perspective is actually a good old-fashioned pro-con list. But it's not here are my partner's good qualities and here are their negative qualities. It's more okay, what is going on when the relationship is going well, and what is going on when the relationship is not going well. So by kind of separating out these good and bad things, and having an overview and looking at it holistically, you can kind of see what the overall trajectory is. And then from there you can see oh, okay, I think the only good thing about a relationship is that I'm having sex, and everything else isn't working. And then from there it's okay, do I want to be in a relationship where the only good thing about it is sex? Okay, maybe not. So I find that's really helpful for getting that perspective and seeing clearly what you want to do moving forward. So the other thing I want to say is that sometimes there isn't really a right or wrong. Sometimes there can be a lot of moralism over oh, you're not fully filling your relationship and you're still in it. Well, you're just wasting your time, and whatever. I think whatever you're doing in a relationship, you can always learn and grow from it. It's just really up to you, okay, when you decide, do I still want to continue this or do I not want to? And whatever you decide, there isn't a right or wrong. And I just want to emphasize that point because I think we can get caught up in that, I think. So, yeah. Okay, so the last thing I want to say on this point is when you know for sure, like deep in your gut, that you want to break up with someone, but you can't, like fear is holding you back, um, that is pretty much due to, I mean, there might be practical concerns, like, maybe you're married and you have to deal with the kids and the divorce and that, which is, but I think underneath that, there's also, like, it's just basically whenever we feel like a tug of war within ourselves, like a divided will, that is always has to do with inner child stuff. So basically, our inner child, like, is clinging on because, they want to feel safe and familiar. But while our adult self knows, like, we're not growing in this relationship, it's affecting our health, etc., etc. So what we have to do is just establish more of a dialogue between our adult self and our inner child self. Maybe our inner child, like, let's say maybe the only reason you're in a relationship is because of the sex. Um, and maybe deep down, sex is for you how you feel loved. So it's like, if you were to do a dialogue with your adult self and your inner child self, they'll just be like, just tuning in and being like, okay, so, like, what do I actually need? Like, if you notice yourself, like, the part of you, like, that just wants to stay on, just, like, because the thing is, our partners and all the psychodrama that happens with the partners, a lot of time it's just like a metaphor for our inner drama with ourselves. So if we can look past, it's like, okay, like, maybe I'm fixated on, my partner right now. I'm like I've gotten over, like, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship, and now I'm like seeing the good side, even though deep down I know it's not right for me. Maybe you can take a moment to, like, reflect and go deeper and say, like, okay, like, I know that, in my heart this is not good for me, but why am I still drawn to this? And you can kind of tune in and go deeper and get in touch with your inner child, and then you can ask them, okay, like, and you just take a moment to breathe and just say, like, what do I really need? And then maybe inner child, and then you can imagine, for example, giving your inner child a hug or whatever, or saying that, like, it's okay, they're safe, this kind of thing. And, it's not like a one and done thing. It's, like, definitely like a practice, a consistent dedication to working with our inner child and our inner fears, inner anxieties, and not just always having our partner plug in those holes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So basically, in a nutshell, like, if you know you want to break up with someone but you can't, take a look at if you have ambivalent attachment, like if you are actually pushing them away to feel safe. 2, take inventory of the macro, big picture scale of it by doing a pro-con list of what's working well and what's not working well. And 3, take a look at your inner child attachments and see if that's the thing that's keeping you kind of stuck. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. Jordan's saying my inner child is steered clear for any danger for about 4 years now. Well, that could also be the inner child talking there. So, yeah. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.